You are listening to PastThink.com audiobook. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Chapter 36. The unrestrained pursues Song Jiang. The boatman makes a night row on Shuanyang River. The big man said, I have ordered the people not to give any money to this man, so how dare you offer him money without my consent? Song Jiang replied, I gave him money, but that is not your business. The fellow took hold of Song Jiang and said, You banished thief. How dare you reply to me? Why should I not answer you? Asked Song Jiang. The man raised his fist to strike Song Jiang, but the latter stepped back to avoid the blow. The man however advanced a step, and was in the act of striking when the medicine seller seized him, and lifting him up threw him to the ground. The big fellow was getting up when the medicine seller knocked him down again with his foot. The escort with Song Jiang now intervened to persuade the medicine seller not to go any further. The man had now got up and spoke, Wait a little. We will soon see who is who. He then went away. Song Jiang turned to the medicine seller and asked for his name. I am a Luoyang man. My name is Shui Yong, and my grandfather was an officer in the army, but owing to intrigues of his fellow officers he got no further promotion. My father and myself have had to sell medicine for a living. Abroad I have got the nickname of the sick tiger. I beg to ask your name. I am Song Jiang of Yunqing County. The man knelt down when he heard this. Song Jiang raised him up and said, Let us find a place where we can drink wine together. He agreed and gathering his things together went with Song Jiang to an inn nearby. The innkeeper, however, said, Although I have both wine and meat yet I dare not supply you with them. Why not? Asked Song Jiang. Because you have had a row with that big man. He told the people that if anybody supply you with wine or food he would smash up our places. We dare not offer any resistance to him. He is the bully of this town, and we all have to do as he says. In that case we shall have to go, said Song Jiang. I should like to go now to the inn where I live, and settle my bill, said Shui Yong. I will come to Jiangzhou to see you in a few days. Song Jiang agreed to this, and gave him 20 taels of silver. They then went their own ways. Song Jiang and his escort tried to get food at several inns, but they could not get refreshment anywhere. They at last left the town, and traveled until it was nightfall without being received by any inn. They discussed matters, and could not understand why they should have provoked the big fellow by giving the medicine vendor money. Just then however they happened to see a light in a forest in the distance, and they decided to go and ask for a night's lodging. It was not on the main road, but they agreed that it was the only place for a rest. When they had gone about half a li off the road they came to a large farmhouse. They knocked at the gate, and the farm laborers asked, Who are you, and why do you come after dark like this? I am a prisoner on the way to Jiangzhou, said Song Jiang. We cannot find an inn to stop at, and I beg you to allow us to stay here for the night. We shall leave early tomorrow, and pay you for the lodging. The servant asked them to wait there while he went, and reported the matter to his master. He soon returned and admitted them. The master gave orders that they were to have rooms and also food. When they had finished their meal, and the things had been cleared away the escort said that as there were no strangers in the room Song Jiang could remove his kang, and have a peaceful sleep that night. He did this, and then they went outside to lavatory before retiring for the night. It was a clear starlit night, and looking round they saw that there was a footpath at the side of the wheat stacks leading behind the room in which they were housed. When they returned to their room Song Jiang said that it was very fortunate for them to get such a place for the night. Just then they heard men light a torch, and come searching round the wheat stacks. Looking through a crack in the door Song Jiang saw that it was the host with 3 laborers who bore torches. Song Jiang said, This farmer reminds me of my father who could never sleep until he had been all round the premises at night. Just then however they heard someone knocking at the farm gate. The farm laborer opened the gate, and about 7 men came in the farmyard. The leader held a halberd in his hand, and his men were armed with sticks. Song Jiang recognized the leader in the light of the torches as the bully of Jieyang town. The old host asked, "Where have you come from, and whom are you looking for?" The leader replied, "You do not know, father. Is my elder brother at home? Your brother became drunk and is sleeping in the room at the back." "I will go and call him," said the leader. "He will go with me to drive a fellow out of this district." "With whom have you had a dispute?" "Your brother would not put up with the dispute. You had better tell me all about this matter." The leader then recited all that had happened on the street that morning, and that he had given orders to all the innkeepers not to supply food or lodging to the prisoner who was passing. They had captured the medicine seller, and the following day they would take him to the river, bind him with ropes, and throw him into the water. As regards the prisoner and his escort, we have not been able to find them yet. I want my brother to go with me now and search everywhere for those three fellows. "My son," said the farmer, "this is not a creditable affair. If the prisoner gave some money, what has that got to do with you? Why do you now wish to attack him? You listen to me, and let the matter drop. You must not speak to your elder brother about this. If he hears that you have been ill-treated, he will certainly want to support you. I am afraid that you will kill someone. Listen to me now, and go to bed. Do not attempt to disturb other people's rest this night." But the son would not listen to his father's advice, and entered the yard with a halberd in his hands, followed by his father. Song Jiang had heard all this, and spoke to his escort, "This is an unfortunate position. What shall we do? We had better go on our way, for if this man gets to know that we are here, he will kill us. The farmer may not say anything about us, but how dare the servants conceal us from him?" The escort agreed, and wanted to go at once. Song Jiang said, "We cannot leave by the gate, so we will get through a wall at the back of this building." They got their baggage, and having got through the wall they found a footpath leading into the forest, and they went that way. They had been walking about an hour when they came to a river bordered by reeds. It was the Xuanyang River. Just then they heard behind them a great noise and many whistles being blown. It was a critical moment, and they all prayed to heaven for assistance. They hid themselves in the reeds and watched the flaming torches approach. They were all afraid, and went further into the depth of the reeds until they reached the edge of the reeds facing the swift-running river. Song Jiang had given up all hope when he saw a small boat emerge from the reeds. He called out, "Sir, please come here, and save us 3 men. We will give you money." "Who are you, and how did you get in such a place?" "There are men pursuing us, and we came here just to escape from them. Bring your boat here at once, and you will be rewarded." The boatman forced his boat through the reeds, and the 3 men were soon on board. The baggage was thrown into the boat, and the boatman heard the noise it made and knew it contained silver, and was pleased. He sculled the boat out into the river. Looking back, they saw about 10 men standing on the bank of the river with lighted torches. The pursuers saw the boat, and there was much shouting for the boat to return. The 3 men lay down in the bottom of the boat, and the boat proceeded on its way. The pursuers called out, "If you do not return, we shall kill you later on." The boatman only laughed at this threat and replied, "My name is Zhang the boatman. Stop goddamn yelling at me." A voice from the bank said, "Zhang, do you not recognize us?" "I am not blind," replied Zhang. "Of course I can see you." "Then come here, as I have something to say to you," the voice replied. "You can speak to me tomorrow," replied Zhang the boatman. "My passengers are in great haste." "But we want to arrest your passengers," said the voice. "These 3 men are relatives of mine," said Zhang, "and I depend on them for a living. I invited them to eat a bowl of deck knife noodles, and when that is finished I will come back. Do you think I shall give you my livelihood for you to enjoy?" "Zhang, that is not our idea. We only want to arrest the criminal. Come here. I have had no customer for several days, so that I am not going to give you now what I have just got. Do not take this ill, and I will meet you again in a few days." Song Jiang was stupefied, and though he had heard all this, he did not understand it at all. But he decided that they would always be beholden to this man for saving their fives. They had narrowly escaped a great danger. As the boatman rowed, he sang a Hujo song. Alone I live on the river's bank. Not a friend but money do I adore. Last night the moon helped me fine. I saw some gold and captured it. Song Jiang and his escort were terrified when they heard this song. But on second thoughts, Song Jiang considered that the boatman might be singing in a playful or jesting manner. They were discussing the question in the bottom of the boat, when the boatman laid down his scull and said, "You fellows. I know that you have cheated us people, and now I have you in my hands. Do you three fellows want to eat deck knife noodles, or would you prefer to eat dumplings and soup?" "Do not joke with us, sir," said Song Jiang. "What do you mean by deck knife noodles and dumplings and soup?" The boatman glared and said, "I am not joking. If you want to eat deck knife noodles, I have a sword here, and I can quickly mince your bodies, and throw the pieces into the water. If you prefer soup pies, then you quickly strip off your clothes, and jump into the river." "We are in a tight corner," said Song Jiang to his escort. "There is a saying, blessings do not come in pairs, calamities never come singly. You three had better turn the matter over, and let me have your answer quickly," said the boatman. "You do not understand," replied Song Jiang. "We have no escape. I am a criminal and am being conducted to Jiangzhou by these two policemen. Please take pity on us and spare our lives." "This is nonsensical language," the boatman said. "Spare three of you. I will not let even one escape. I am sometimes known as Dog-Faced Zhang. I do not make any difference even with my own father or mother. Shut your stinking mouths and get into the water. We have much silver, gold, clothes, and other valuables in our baggage, and we will give them all to you. Please spare our lives," begged Song Jiang. The boatman picked up a bright sword with a very broad blade from the bottom of the boat, and shouted, "Now you three. Which is it to be?" Song heaved a sigh as he looked towards heaven. "Because I have failed in showing respect to heaven, and have been unfilial to my parents, I have committed a crime, and implicated both of you two men." The men took hold of Song Jiang. "Sir, enough. We three will all die together." The boatman called out, "Now you three, get your clothes off, and jump into the water." The three men embraced each other, and gazed at the water. Just then they heard the sound of sculling on another boat, and the boatman turned his head to listen. A boat was quickly approaching from upriver, and was soon alongside. There were three men in the boat, and one of them was a big man, and was standing with a pitchfork in his hands. The other two were young men, and they were sculling. The big man called out, "Who are you and how dare you do business here? You will have to divide with us all that you have in your boat." The boatman quickly replied, "Ah. Is that brotherly? I thought it might be someone else. Where are you going to do business? You have not got brothers with you this time?" "Younger brother Zhang, what is your game?" asked the tall man. "What things have you got in your boat? Have you any valuables?" "If I told you, you would only laugh," said the boatman. "These last few days I have had no business, have lost all my money in gambling, and have not even a single cash. I was in a melancholy mood when these three men came to my boat with their baggage. Two were policemen and the other a small-sized criminal with a sallow complexion. I do not know who they are, but they are going to Jiangzhou." The prisoner, however, was not wearing a kang. A number of men came to the river's bank with the two brothers Mu, who wanted to capture the three men. As I judged that the escort had plenty of money, I declined to hand them over. "Ah. Can this be my brother Song Jiang?" asked the tall man. Song Jiang seemed to recognize the voice and called out from his hiding place. "Who are you? I request you to save Song Jiang's life." The tall man was startled at this and replied, "You really are my brother. Why not get up?" Song Jiang crept out. It was a bright starlit night, and he immediately recognized the man as Li Jun, the muddy water dragon. Behind him he could make out the two men who were sculling as Tong Wei, the cave dragon, and the other as Tong Meng, the river-churning clam. Li Jun also recognized Song Jiang, and jumped across to the other boat saying, "Brother, you have been fright. Had I not just happened to arrive in the nick of time, you would have been killed. Today fate decided that I should be very fidgety at home, so that I got my boat to try to intercept some salt smugglers. I had not the slightest idea that I would save your life." The boatman had listened to all this with great surprise, and now asked, "Can this man be Song Jiang, Welcome Rain, of Shandong?" "Of course it is." The boatman knelt down and kowtowed saying, "My God. Why did you not mention your name before, and so stopped me from attempting your life? I was nearly to murder you." "Who is this boatman?" asked Song Jiang. "He is my sworn brother," replied Li Jun. "He comes from the Xiaogu Hill, and his name is Zhang Heng. He is known as the boatman, and he lives as a virtuous pirate on the river." Song Jiang and his escort laughed at this. The two boats were soon brought to the side of the river and moored. Li Jun addressed the boatman Zhang Heng, "Today you are favored by heaven to meet the greatest hero in the world, Song Jiang, Welcome Rain. Take a good look at him, and never forget him." Zhang Heng took a flint and steel and striking a light lit a lamp, and had a good look at Song Jiang. He then knelt down and said, "I hope that you will overlook my serious mistake. How did you come to be banished to the prison at Jiangzhou?" Li Jun explained the whole situation, and then Zhang Heng said to Song Jiang, "Brother, I have something to say. I have a younger brother of the same mother. He is a big muscular fellow, can swim about 15 li, and can stay in the water for 7 days at a time. In the water he swims in a straight line. He is also a skilled gymnast. Because of this he has received the nickname the White Fish. His name is Zhang Shun. Previously we lived on the Yangtze River very peacefully and orderly, but the time came when we had no money, and then we took our boat to a quiet solitary place to do some illicit business. Those people who like to save money, and at the same time get quick ferrying came to us. I arranged for my brother to pretend to be a traveler, and also to come to our boat with his baggage. When the boat was full I would push off, but would soon drop the anchor, and taking a sword demand the fares. The proper fare was 500 cash, but I would demand 3,000 cash. I would first ask my brother, and when he refused to pay I would take his head in one hand, and the seat of his trousers in the other, and throw him overboard. The other passengers would then willingly pay the amount demanded without raising the least objection. I would then row them to a quiet part of the bank, and they would quickly disembark and disappear. My brother would swim underneath the water to the side of the river, and emerge when nobody was about. We would soon meet and divide the money. We earned a good living by this means for some time." "I suppose you had plenty of patrons who looked out for your boat," said Song Jiang. The men all laughed at this wit. "We soon found another business," said Zhang Heng. "I came here to help in salt smuggling, whereas my brother started in business at Jiangzhou as a wholesale fishmonger. I should like to write a letter to him, but unfortunately I do not know characters." "We will go into the village here, and find a man to write the letter for you," said Li Jun. They set off to the village, but they had not gone half the distance to that place when they saw many lighted torches on the riverbank. "I see that the brothers Mu have not yet gone back," said Zhang Heng. "Let us bring them here," said Li Jun. "That will never do," said Song Jiang, "as they want to arrest me." "They are our friends," said Li Jun. He then whistled and the torches immediately approached. When they arrived they were surprised to see Song Jiang with Li Jun and Zhang Heng, and asked, "Do you know these 3 men? How is it you are with them?" Li Jun laughed loudly and said, "Who do you think he is? We do not know his name. But we saw him give money to a medicine vendor in the market town, and so undermined our influence there. So we tried to arrest him. This is Song Jiang, Welcome Rain, from Shandong, of whom I have spoken to you many times. Quickly pay your obeisance." The 2 brothers kowtowed and said, "We have heard of your fame for a long time, but we did not expect to meet you this day. We have treated you badly, and hope that you will forgive us. Song Jiang raised them up and said, I beg that you will give me your name. Li Jun interposed, these brothers are of a rich family in this town. This one is Mu Hong, and his nickname is the Unrestrained, and his younger brother is Mu Chun, nicknamed Slightly Restrained. They are the tyrants of Jieyang town. There are 2 other groups of tyrants whom you will have heard of. On the Jieyang mountain I myself and Li Li are the tyrants. On the banks of this river are 2 tyrants, namely, Zhang Heng and Zhang Shun. These form the 3 groups of tyrants. I have not heard of these men before, said Song Jiang, but as we are all brothers I hope that you will now release Shui Yong. Do you refer to that medicine vendor? Asked Mu Hong laughingly. Do not worry about him. I will send my brother to release him, and bring him here. We now beg you to come to our home, where we can offer suitable apologies for our blunder. They agreed to this, and messengers were dispatched with an order to prepare a feast for the coming guests. 2 men were sent to summon the 2 boatmen to join them also at the feast. It was about 4 a.m. when they all reached the farmhouse, and were welcomed by old Mu. It was almost dawn when Shui Yong arrived. They feasted together all that day. On the following day Song Jiang wished to continue on his way, but Mu Hong would not agree to this. They all went for a stroll viewing the sights in the town, thus they stayed at Mu's house for 3 more days, and then Song Jiang insisted upon departure as he was afraid that the time limit would be over. At last they agreed to his departure. Upon his departure Zhang Heng got a letter written introducing Song Jiang to his brother at Jiangzhou. They all shed tears as he embarked on the boat. The boat had sails, and as the wind was favorable it soon reached Jiangzhou. They went straight to the yamen, and presented their dispatch to the prefect. The prefect Kai Dezhang, the 9th son of the Prime Minister Kai Jing, was a proud man with an overbearing manner, and he was addicted to taking secret commissions. His father appointed him here, because the prefecture was a very wealthy place. He saw that Song Jiang did not look like an average man, so he asked him, how is it that there is no written statement on your kang? The escort stated that on the journey there had been much rain, which had washed the written statement away. The escort was dismissed and Song Jiang was sent to the prison, where he was put in a small house separate from the main building. Song Jiang duly bribed the attendants and the warden with 10 taels of silver each, so that they were all pleased. When he was called to the inspection room the warden said, Song Jiang, listen to me. The founder of the Song dynasty, Emperor Taizu, made a law that criminals who had been transferred to a prison should receive 100 blows with the bamboo. Now, those on my left and right, take the prisoner and inflict the usual punishment. On the journey here, sir, said Song Jiang, I caught a cold, and have not quite recovered from it. I can see that you are not quite well, replied the official, so we will postpone the blows today. He was previously a clerk in a yamen, so that we will use him in that capacity in this yamen. He thereupon wrote out an order to that effect. Song Jiang expressed his thanks, and returning to his quarters took his baggage to the office where he was to work as a writer. The prisoners realized that Song Jiang was a man with influence. They bought wine, and invited him to drink with them, and he received their congratulations. The next day Song Jiang invited the prisoners to wine in the same way. He also often asked the lower officials to dine with him, and sent presents to the warden. The result was that he had many friends. Within a fortnight they were all pleased to have made his acquaintance. An ancient says, human relations vary, sometimes friendship, sometimes the opposite. Some fawn upon the wealthy and avoid the poor. One day when Song Jiang was entertaining one of the turnkeys, the latter said, the other day I told you that you must not overlook giving the head jailer some money, but how is it that you have not yet done so? It is now nearly 10 days since you came here. He will certainly come to see you tomorrow, and then it will be too late to offer money. Never mind that, said Song Jiang. If he wants money, I will not give him any. But if you turnkeys want money, and ask me for it, I will certainly supply the same. That superintendent shall not have a single cash. When he comes here I shall have something to say to him. Sir, but that man is a stern disciplinarian, and he is over us, said the turnkey. If you have a disagreement with him he will certainly abuse you. In that case do not say that I did not warn you. Don't worry about that, said Song Jiang. It may be of course that I shall give him something, and it may be that he does not want anything. While they were talking about this a messenger came in, and reported that the head jailer was coming. He was evidently in a temper as he called out, "How is it that the newly arrived prisoner has not given me regular money?" The turnkey said, "Did I not tell you so?" Song Jiang laughed and said, "I will go to meet him, and will see you later." He did this. Seas of blood, and heaps of corpses. At the crossroads in the town. Mandarin nets were spread on all sides. But the bandits broke them down.